So in this short video I want to demonstrate the breadboard version of the uTracer new concept version. What you see on this breadboard is a test circuit. On the far end you have the pulse generator. This is a simple deep bounce circuit and a pulse shaper which generates a pulse of about 1.5 milliseconds. Then we have in the front here the low pass filter, which filters the 19.5 kilohertz signal coming from my signal generator and turns it into a nice DC voltage. And then we have here the control gate pulse circuit, which is controlled by the pulse generator at the far end. As a test tube I use an EL84, a nice big output power tube. It is connected to these two dropper capacitors that I use to measure both the anode current and the screen grid current. Okay, the whole circuit is connected to my high voltage supply. The high voltage supply is connected via a high voltage high value resistor to this buffer capacitor, which simulates the buffer capacitor in a boost converter. So the measurement equipment we have here are the high voltage source here, which is at the moment at 250 volts. We have some DC power supplies for the op-amps and the other logic circuits. Here we have the frequency generator, which is at 19.5 kilohertz and at the moment at a duty cycle of about 90%, which corresponds to a control grid voltage of about 0 volts. And then we have here a memory scope which records the anode current as measured over a 50 ohm sense resistor. So what we can do is we can reset here the scope, then fire the tube, and then we see that we have an anode current which corresponds here to about 7 volts over a 50 ohm resistor, corresponding to about, say, 140 milliamps of anode current. So what we measure here is this EL84 tube at its maximum anode voltage of about 250 volts, at 0 grid voltage, so that's maximum anode current of 150 milliamps, corresponding to about 40, say 35-40 watts, and bias condition which in normal DC, so continuous mode, would be almost impossible because the tube would melt straight through the table. But since we are measuring here in pulse mode, perfectly well possible, and well, makes a nice circuit.